How are you, dears? I hope you are all fine. Uh, Today we are going to talk about DQ, double-ended Q. So you may know about arrays. We said arrays are composed of it's like a list, and we said they are another kind of just like an array. It is a vector. Vector was a size. The size was changing, so the size of it's just like an array, but the size of the array is changing. So this was known as vector. So vector was having some functions. So either it is push back, pop back, insert, erase, clear, empty, and there was, I think, one or two more functions we have used it. Now we are going to talk about Deque. Before saying that, in order to use the vector, we were using hash include then vector. So Deque, double-ended Q, is the same. Okay, so double-ended Q. Let's write vector and double-ended Q. Deque. So vector, the property of vector was we were able to use pushback and pop back. So pushback, which means that to add an element to the last place of the vector. For example, if our vector had 4 places, we were pushing back, and let's say 5, we're pushing back a number, 1, 2, 3, and this number would be added to the vector, but to the last place. Let's say 4 places, then the 5th place would be 1, 2, 3. So this was known as pushback. And there was pop back. Pop back was meaning that to delete the last element of our vector. But we were not able, in vector, we were not able to push front, to add an element from the beginning, and to pop an element from the beginning as well. The difference between vector and Deque, so this was, let's say, pop back. The difference between vector and Deque is this. Both of them are having pushback. Deque even, it's the same as vector. It has pushback and it has pop back as well. But it has 2 more things in the Deque. What are these things? It is push front and pop front. So what does it mean? It means that I can either delete from the beginning or add to the beginning, delete from the end and add to the end as I need it. And there are different, so we can say the performance of using Deque for such operation is more than the performance of using vector. But if I only had to push from the back, I mean, to add an element to the last part of the vector of the let's say of the list I have, I can only use a vector without any problem. It doesn't need to use Deque. But if there was a case that I needed to either add from the beginning or add from the end, without doing a bit, let's say, math operations, so using Deque is more preferred. Okay. Well, how I can write a simple program? I can say include and then iostream. Okay. And then I'll write hash, then include. The same thing, this one is Deque. So I'm going to add the library of Deque. So using name space standard library. And we said integer main. And by the way, as we have studied functions, I can directly say void main. There's no problem with that. But at that time, I'm not able, I shouldn't write return 0. Okay, so let me write integer main not to make you confused. and I'll write return 0, and before that I should write system pose. Okay, so how I can write or define a normal Deque just like the vector. How we were having vectors, we were saying that vector of integer type, let's say, and then the name of the vector, which is numbers, and then that's it. So this was the way to have vector. Why there's all underlined? Because I didn't include the vector. So this time I'm going to change this one into Deque. So this is the way I'm initial or declaring the Deque. It's the same process. I can have, let's say, a number to declare that to specify or occupy an amount of place. Okay, very nice. So this is our Deque right now, and the type of our Deque is of integer. I can have a Deque of string. I can have a Deque of float number, char, or boolean, or anything like this. Okay. Okay, very nice. So how I'm going to initialize it? I will push. Look, push back, push front, and pop back, pop front. So push back, let's say push front. And I'm going to say, first of all, I'm pushing back to where? I'm pushing back to numbers. So I should say for numbers, then push back. Let me just push front. So I'll say 1. So I add one element to the vector. So if it is either push back or push front, it is the same. Right now, what I'm doing is this, numbers again, and I'm going to push to the front of 1. So I'm going to put another element, but before the 1. Okay? Okay, so let's come again. Okay, then push front, and I will say 3. So what will be the result if I did show this this Deque I have? I can say numbers dot plus size. Yeah. Okay. And I will say I'm going to see out numbers dot at the same thing as vector at I. And I'm going to give a tab here just to make it more meaningful and clear. Just before system out, I'm going to have an inline. Okay. Very nice. So what I have inserted into my vector, into my add Deque right now, is 1. So the first time there will be a first place, and that place is having 1. And then there will be another place, but this place is not behind this one. It is in fact in front of this one. So just like this, and the value for it is 3. So this 3, the second thing I have inserted, will be in front of the one. Okay. So I'm going to run my code and see if the result is the same or not. So we can see that 3 and then 1. But if I have done this one to push back, this was doing just the reverse of this one. So it will be 1 and this one will be 3. And I'm going to run my code again. And you see 1 and 3 this time. Okay. Very nice. And what I'm doing right now, I can say, I can put, let's say, an amount of element into the Deque. Let's say I have I from 0 to, let's say, 5, until 5. And I'm going to put these numbers into the Deque. So numbers dot push back, push front, let's say, and then I. So what's happening here is that the first time I is 0, I becomes the first element. So it will be I, it will be 0, then 1, then 3. Then the second time I becomes 1, then it will be 1, 0, 1, 3. The third time I becomes 2, then it goes like this. So each element that I is incrementing, each element comes after, will come to the first line of my Deque. Okay, I'm going to put another for loop to see the output or the result of my Deque. Numbers dot size. Why I'm writing number dot size? Because the size of the Deque I have, it's always changing. That's why I'm not going to put a constant number here. It's always better when I'm using Deque or vector to use this function numbers dot size to accurately do everything. Okay, so I'm going to say cout and numbers dot at I. Yeah, yes. And then I'm going to put a normal tab here and a semicolon. This one is, there's a mistake, numbers at I, and then everything is correct, I think. Okay, I'm running my code. You see 4321013. So 4 is the last element just before number size, just before the 5. If I make this one equal to 5, so our first element will be 5. Okay, there's a problem, I think. I small or equal to than, and then I plus plus. What is the problem? I didn't close this. I'm closing it, and I run my code again. You see 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 0, 1, 3. Okay, very nice. And after that, I'm going to delete the first element of my Deque and the last element. So numbers dot pop back, pop front. So I'm deleting the first element, and number just pop and then back. So I'm deleting the first, and this is a function, so something like this. Deleting the first element and then deleting the last element. And after that, I should have different outputs. Let us copy this as well and copy this here. So it's showing me before deleting and showing me after deleting. And I'm going to give an end line just here, not to make everything confused. Control F5. Let's see. So 5321013, and I have deleted the first and the last element. It will be 4321001 and delete this one. So you see, it's very nice. I can also delete in the way I have deleted vectors. For example, I can say numbers dot erase. Erase what? Erase numbers dot begin. I'm deleting from the beginning, and I want which one, the fourth value to be deleted, and something like this. So this one is doing what? Either I'm deleting the first one directly, or I'm deleting the middle elements. The middle elements are done by this. So when I'm saying 3, in fact, I'm saying 3 places, leave 3 places and then delete the other one. So it will be first place, second place, third place, and fourth place. This will be deleted. Okay? So from the beginning, plus 3, 1, 2, 3, and then delete out the other one. Okay? Very nice. And after that, I'm able to delete. Yes. I'm refreshing my code. This is 5, and this is 4, 3, 2. 4, 3, 2 remained. So these are the 3, and then 1 is deleted, and then 0, 1. Clear? I hope it is clear. All the other things are the same. I can say numbers dot clear, which makes delete everything, and I can check if numbers dot empty. This one is for what? Is checking either my Deque is empty or not. So if it's empty, do this. If not, it's not empty, do something else. So all these things we have talked about in the vector are applicable here as well. What is changing here is pop front and push front. And to process like a huge data, which I'm inserting my data from the beginning and from the end points, it's better to use Deque more than vectors. Okay, very nice. This is everything about vector Deque, which were arrays, but the size were changing. Thank you very much.